Today I'm doing something a little bit different, doing a full service on the Kawasaki ZZR600. This one's marked up as a ZX6, and I think this is the precursor to the Ninja. But as far as I can tell, all these bikes are pretty much the same. We've got all 4 spark plugs, oil filter, air filter, and the oil. And this totalled £70. We'll start with dropping the oil. Got the bike on the centre stand. We need to remove this lower part of the fairing here. We've got a crosshead screw on both sides, which removes this piece of plastic here. Just got another screw here on both sides. A bit tight on this side. It looks like we just unhook the trim from behind the upper fairing. That's the lower fairing removed. 17mm sump plug right next to the exhaust, so be careful because it'll be very hot. And I put a tray underneath ready to catch the oil. The oil will be really hot, so carefully grab it in another container. Just getting a little bit of oil so I can have a look at it. Definitely due a change. Leave that draining out. Now the oil filter is right in the middle of the downpipes. I'm hoping that it hasn't been over tightened. I don't know what specific tool it is supposed to be for removing it, but I'm hoping that I can remove it with this generic tool. If it's not been over tightened, yeah, we're all good. That's good. So just get it loose. I should be able to do it by hand if the downpipes have cooled down enough. surprisingly, the downpipes are cooled down, but the block is very hot. That's incredible. Yeah, the block is hotter than the downpipes right now. Whew. I'll do make sure that just in case you do have a fire extinguisher close by. Obviously we're putting hot oil on what probably would be a hot exhaust. A little bit rusty. Now, it's a slightly different filter, but as long as the thread and the diameter's the same, it is compatible. So I don't know why it's slightly different, whether it's a revised model. You see on both the filters it says M20 1.5, and it looks like this new one has come pre-greased, and if it's the same as cars, which I'm assuming it is, apply a thin film of oil to the gasket before screwing on and tighten the cartridge. Tightening torque 8 to 12 Newton meters. So the same as on a car really, you just tighten it up until it's touching and then just a little bit more. 8 to 12 Newton meters isn't a lot. And then obviously check for leaks once you've put the oil in, and tighten if necessary. So careful to not get any grit on the new seal. But yeah, definitely don't over tighten oil filters. It makes your life harder, or someone's life harder on the next service. Refit the sump plug, ideally with a brand new one if you've got one. Unfortunately I don't, and I don't have a torque figure for this, so you'll have to be careful not to over tighten, obviously to make sure that it is tight enough that it doesn't leak. It was pretty tight, probably over tight when removing. And now we top up the oil, which conveniently on the side of the block it does say 3.7 litres. Right, so I found the correct capacity for it. 3.7 litres is for a dry rebuild refill. The capacity oil change is 3.2 litres. And what I'm going to do to make sure that I get this right is measure it in. So I've got 1.2 litres in here, and then I'm going to add another 2 litres. So definitely get the right amount in there. add another 2 litres. If you look through this window here, the level is pretty much perfect. However, we haven't started it yet, so be prepared for that to drop slightly. We might add another 100 or 200 mil. To clean any oil from the exhaust. Start the bike, just run it not for long. We'll check the filter isn't leaking, and this will fill the filter. Wait a few minutes for the level to show again. I might start getting on with the air filter and spark plugs while we wait for the oil to drop back down. You need to remove the seat. Once you've taken the seat off, you actually find that all the information you could want is under the seat, and there are stickers all over the place. In fact, the oil fill levels and grades are on this sticker as soon as you remove the seat. That many nuts and bolts get changed on a bike of this age that it's probably just going to be best for me to just point out where all the bolts are. So we need to remove the fuel tank. There should be a screw here and a screw here, and then the front of this trim just pops out of the lugs attached to the tank. Which does just give us enough room. There'll be, on this there was a 13mm in that hole there, and two 10mm at the front here. And while you should remove the tank completely, I have actually found that if you lift it up and tilt it back, if you get it in the right position, it will support itself without wiggling about. This could make it a lot easier for you if you don't want to remove all the pipework underneath. Just added a rag here just to protect the paintwork on the tank itself. And now what we've got in the airbox are 7 screws. They were all 10mm on this, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Remove all of them and just take these pipes off to be able to remove the lid. we have here is a K&N filter, which I am going to replace anyway. I'll let the next owner decide whether they want to refit that. What you can do, rather than removing the airbox lid, is undo these covers here, which gives you access to these two 8mm screws, which are holding the airbox on. Obviously, as we are replacing the air filter anyway, it's no effort to remove the lid first. Now, if you are going to be working on the bike, the air pipes at the front just come out. The air intakes that go to the front of the bike. So if you are going to be working on the bike for a bit, you'll want to cover up these intake ports. In the manual it does say to remove these panels on both sides, and that's to get to these intake pipes to pull them out of the airbox. They were a lot tighter the first time, but the second time it's almost as if they weren't fitted, but they definitely were. They definitely were back in the airbox. What you've got is an elbow, which if you pull off and up like this, you can get it out of the way, because you'll need it out of the way when refitting the airbox to push back in. I've covered the carb intakes with rubber gloves. Just a foam filter for this, but the whole thing is a filter on this, whereas on this K&N filter it's only that area there. I wonder why they've done that. Assuming it is a K&N, I mean it doesn't say anywhere on it that it is, just the sticker on the outside of the airbox. I'll just check it's the right shape. So yeah. Not entirely sure which way up it should be. Think about that way. I might look it up and check. But yeah, that's the new air filter fitted, if that is the right way up. Now, for access to the outer spark plugs, we've got to remove the ignition coil on each side. Now just be careful, because when you do remove them, 10mm bolts, this washer part is separate, so you could drop that and lose it. So I've opted to just take them out completely, put them to one side. So once you've got that loose, you can get to the outer spark plugs. I'd maybe do one at a time, just to make sure that you don't get the HT leads mixed up. So I'm going to start with that outer one. Standard spark plug tool. grabber to remove it. No, they don't look too old. So it does look like it's been serviced properly, but we're doing a full service anyway. A new spark plug. We'll have to insert it with the grabber so that we don't drop it. In the manual it says to tighten to 14 Newton meters. On the box of the spark plug it says 10 to 12 Newton meters or a quarter of a turn once it's at the bottom. Being careful not to feel like it's going in at an angle. But I'll have a go at the second one, because I'm not 100% with that first one whether it feels like it's going in straight. And you see that one's easy to screw in, so I feel like the last one isn't entirely straight in the thread. So it's touching the bottom, and we're just going to go another quarter of a turn if we can. Don't want to go too tight, that feels fine. And then refit the HT lead. So I'll have a play around with this first cylinder, see if I can get it to screw in without any pressure, but it just seems to be just off for some reason. What I've done is I put a short extension on first because I felt like it might have been touching the frame and knocking it off, but if it were cross threading I feel like it'd be a lot harder to do than this, but it just wasn't finger tight like the like the second cylinder and what you'd expect with a clean thread. But it appears to be going in alright. Hard to tell when it's seated. I think that's fine. So now we can refit the HT lead and refit the coil on this side. So I need to put the spacer at the back of it and then screw it back in. Repeat the job on the other side. Remove the coil. And do exactly the same thing that you've just done on this side. Yeah, that seems to have gone in absolutely fine on this side. So that's it, just refit everything back together. So that's it, put everything back together, and that's your complete filter and spark plug service on the ZX600 or ZZR600 or ZX6, whatever they call it in your region. Thanks for watching.